Hello, welcome to Paper Daisy Journals. It's Kylie. This video is a flip through of an A5 sized junk journal that I have called Belle. Belle has 64 pages to write on, and she is 15 centimeters or 6 inches by 21 centimeters or 8¼ inches, and she has a 5 centimeter or 2-inch spine. Belle's cover is a vintage quilt that I have machine stitched on. It is flexible but structured, and the quilt goes all the way around, but I have actually stitched the spine in separately. On the front, for the closure, there is a vintage doily that I have stitched down the spine. So these two pieces are actually loose, so you can actually tuck things in as sort of tuck spots with the closure. On the spine, there's 4 signatures, and I have used some antique French rosary beads down the spine as a feature. So she's got a really beautiful spine and would look lovely sitting on a shelf. There's also some beads dangling out the bottom, or they can be flipped up to the top. A beautiful ribbon closure. This is a silk ribbon, hand torn, so it's really beautiful to feel, and you can see that the doily is actually loose on the cover there. And in as the feature, I have a crocheted blossom that I have stitched a Suffolk puff, and that's a beautiful vintage milliner flower from Blue Linen Cottage. Emily gifted that to me, and I just felt that this journal needed something, and that was perfect. Very reluctant, very reluctant maybe to give away Belle, but that's how it is. So that is the closure. On the inside, so her cover, I'm not sure if I mentioned, is soft, but it's structured. So there is cardboard panels on the front, the spine, and the back, just to give some sort of firmness to the journal. Inside, there is beautiful antique fabric with a bow pattern, and this is a piece of embroidered tablecloth with a Battenberg insert, so just delicious. It's a bit of a trifecta, really. That is a vintage wallpaper tag, one of my favorite ones, and that's actually the wallpaper. I do have a printable of that wallpaper in my Etsy shop, and that's just a sticker from the library of, if you wanted to pop that somewhere in the journal. This is a beautiful piece of vintage French music score, and the blue was just perfect. So obviously Belle has a blue theme. A little cluster from my friend Kim's shop, Handcrafts by Kim, and I will link her shop in the description. I have hand stitched everything in. That's just, I actually find it's very time consuming, but I actually find it more therapeutic than the sound of my sewing machine. So I am taking the slow approach to making my journals. A little cluster here, and this is gorgeous hand painted blossoms by Hayley Perry Designs. I will link her shop in the description as well. And embossed handmade paper from Rosehill Cottage. I will also list Heather's shop in the description, so I won't say this again. The handmade paper and the beautiful forget-me-nots are from those ladies, very talented. And that's also vintage wallpaper. This is a page of ledger. It's also throughout Belle. It's actually from the Department of Education in New South Wales, the ledger, completely blank. So I'm not sure what that teacher was doing, but it was never written in. So, and I just love, there's a beautiful subtle patina around the edge. So I've used a lot of that. And I've left the numbers so you can see the numbers on that ledger throughout this journal. Lightly tea stained papers as well. Beautiful lace ruffles from Blue Linen Cottage, and I will link Emily's shop, as I said, with the blossom on the front cover. A teapot wax seal, and that's just pinned onto that silk ruffle there, lace ruffle there. I'm so excited. I'm confusing myself with what things are. Possibly just mute me, put on some relaxing music as I do this flip through. Anyway, an embroidery snippet on beautiful handmade paper with a daisy pattern. And I am a paper lover, so I just love that. A wine label from Souvenir de la France. I will link Jacqueline's shop in the description. There's a lot of shops I have to remember to link. Cynthia, I promise I will. Tag that I've made with a crocheted blossom on the top, some of that beautiful music score. Wallpaper, one of Haley's blossoms, a ribbon ruffle hand stitched on the bottom there, and there is space to journal on the back. This is baking paper I use when I do my tea stained pages, and I just love that crinkly sound, so it's only had tea stained paper on it. A little bow I just had to stick there. This is an interesting situation. I had a wide piece of lace that I wanted to use as a tuck spot, but I decided to actually sew it down the middle with a bow, and it is a double tuck. So I was a bit pleased with myself. You can still journal on the back. Some more of that beautiful blue ledger. And funny story, so I tend to make piles and work out where I want to put embellishments. I like to spread them out through each signature, and I accidentally sewed this onto this first page, and rather than flipping the page around because it got all confusing, I just tore it off and literally stuck it on the page I wanted to sew it on, because unpicking it just didn't make as much sense at the time for some reason. And I actually really like that look. It's sort of like a little peekaboo feature rather than just a sort of plain page. So I will be doing that again. Happy accident, I call them. Some beautiful glass beads. That's actually an antique one, that little blue one in the middle there. A 5-hole pamphlet stitch to make sure everything stays in. It's quite a big journal. A little Tim Holtz, gosh, they're so cute. A little Tim Holtz paper clip there. And this is an original telegram with that beautiful tape. And I love the colours. I've done a little bit of hand stitching there, and I have backed it with tea stained paper. But I've actually left that sort of torn bit at the bottom there. I just love that. So that is the only blank page in the whole journal, and I've covered it with this telegram. So you can't say there wasn't a blank page for journaling. It may end up with some butterflies on it because, I don't know, blank feels wrong to me. A beautiful fussy cut image there on that baking paper. Sometimes when you make a journal, you fall in love with a little cluster or a page or a spread. And this is one that I love. It's a hanky, vintage hanky I have stitched in onto that beautiful handmade paper, and some of that handmade paper embossed with an original French stamp from 1909, torn off a receipt, and a distressed ribbon journaling space on the back, and just tucked in there. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Another handmade tag with that handmade paper. That's actually an original coupon from France as well. A little ruffle at the bottom and a bow at the top. Some journaling space, but I did do that cross stitching after I had made the tag, so I covered it at the back, and a really nice broderie anglaise pocket stitched in there, and some more of that ledger. This is another cute little pocket, so an embroidery snippet tag. I have that as a printable. It's my blue Linen Cottage printable in my Etsy shop. I think it's one of the tags that made it into the printable. Tucked into a vellum pocket with some wallpaper and one of Hallie's little blossoms. I have to choose a one of my vintage painted postcards of Belle. I haven't actually chosen which one yet, but I'm not sure what relation he is to her. Maybe a lover, who knows. Another fun thing that I decided to do, which was actually, to be honest, a little bit of a nightmare, trying to keep that almost straight and stitch it through a quilt and put beads on at the same time. That took quite an immense amount of skill. I pulled it off. I'm super excited about that, and it wasn't as much of a struggle as I thought, so I prepared for the worst, but I hoped for the best. So that is a piece of doily in a beautiful blue, a little embroidery snippet on there, and I like how it peeks through from behind there. This is a lace belly band, and I have an embossed glassine bag, so it's quite a big pocket. I do stitch the top and bottom with some butterflies, and I will draw their antennae back on, but I've tucked it under here because I just thought until you put something in there, it just looks really pretty tucked under there. A Suffolk puff stitched on. This was fun. I got this from an Etsy friend, and I am struggling to remember. Anyway, if I do remember, I will write a little note in the description, because I can anyway, I'm digging myself a hole. It's a little calico bag that's been stamped, and I have stitched it onto the music page. I've put a linen tag in there, and it's actually a double tuck spot, so you can tuck something in behind the little bag and you can tuck it in to the little bag. And I'm still struggling to remember this Etsy shop, because she makes the most adorable pendants out of fine bone china chips that she shapes into hearts and ovals, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. I am going to actually use some on future journals, so I will come back to that if I remember. A beautiful, almost like a delicate sort of tulle lace This is a little tuck spot with some original French document. That's a playing card. I left the back like that because the colours actually match into the journal, so you could use it either way. And a little collage with a Will cigarette card. A antique fabric tag. I think this is one that's in my one of my printables as well. So that's the original fabric tag in a lace pocket, and some French vintage French trim there. It is patinaed with age, and that is a vintage glass button that I've sewn on there. A sweet little tuck spot. This is actually a tally card from the US with a little bluebird on it, so that's a little tuck spot there. Oops, I did demonstrate the tuck spot got stuck. Some paper blossoms stitched on, and some William Morris washi tape. This is the other side of the glassine bag with a little bow and an original library card with some fussy cut images, and I'd like to thank my mum for helping me with the fussy cutting, because I do love the look, but I'm not very patient. I have to concentrate too hard, and having been a school teacher for so long, you'd think I would just be very skilled, but I'm not. Not skilled at cutting. And that's the end of that signature. So that piece of linen wraps all the way around. The start of this one has a vintage envelope from 1968. It says confidential. And it's for the Imperial College of Science and Technology. So that's a little bit swish. I wonder what was in this one. That's a tuck spot in the actual envelope and then also behind it. So it's a double tuck, and I have sewn it on. I love the postage stamps on that. This is on beautiful Italian wrapping paper with a leaf pattern, and it has gold on it as well, which is just absolutely beautiful. And I just matched it in with the gold in that embroidery snippet, so I'm not sure if that's showing up on the video or not. A beautiful cotton lace pocket, and I've woven some ribbon through, and that is a Flower Fairies postcard just tucked in there. I thought it was cute that the little fairy was popping out the top, and B for Belle. And book page. Oh, this is some of my favorite onion skin paper. It's almost like tissue paper, actually. It's a duplicate, a legal duplicate. So I think they actually used fountain pen, and it soaked through a couple of layers, but you can see the aging spots on it. It's just gorgeous. Ironically, we tea stained paper to get that that look. And initially, if I'd seen that a couple of years ago before I started junk journaling, I would have thought, ew, it's got age spots on it. Now it's a coveted piece of ephemera. All this whole world is just so fun to be in. One of my hanky envelopes, because I am obsessed with Swiss hankies. Surprise, surprise. Just one more obsession. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything that you have not seen me be obsessed with yet that I absolutely must become obsessed with, because I'm always looking for new things. This is a double tuck, so I have sewn it in, so that is open at the back, and it's sort of like a belly band because it's open through here as well. But of course you can open the actual envelope and tuck something in it as a tuck spot, and I just love that blossom on the front. Tearing again because I came up with the idea with my happy accident. Some beads on the signature strings and a gorgeous little cluster there. That's another little favorite part of the journal. a rose wax seal hanging off some of that beautiful lace ruffle again. The other side of that beautiful paper and book page. This is a little tuck spot. It's a player's card and it has a beautiful linen feel to it. It's not shiny. It is gold, so there is some shine to it, but not on the actual card. A vintage glass button up the top there, and I put that there because it looks like it's holding the tag down. Some beautiful hand-torn fabric from Emily's shop. I do apologise, next door has just decided to get into his van and go somewhere because I'm filming in the morning today. So that's a little bit of background noise there. Some of that beautiful handmade paper, a bus ticket, some blossoms, a ruffle and space to journal on the back. So win-win. And it sticks in there. Another page, and that's an original seed packet label, and you can do a little bit of secret journaling underneath, and that is the actual paper, that beautiful paper on the other side of the signature. On this side, I had this piece of fabric, which I just love, vintage sort of floral fabric, but it looked a bit plain compared to the other linen. So I decided to stitch on a space to do some journaling. And so that's all hand stitched on there with some of those beautiful blossoms and a tiny little embroidery tag that's in my blue Linen Cottage printable in my shop as well. I just love that too. That's another little favorite spot in my journal. So another embroidery snippet, some more of those beautiful paper flowers, very lightly tea stained doily. This is a beautiful original French folded envelope with the stamping on it and the actual stamps. So so beautiful, from 1868 I think it is, and the color's just perfect. A wallpaper tag tucked into a beautiful snippet from a linen, and some of that French trim with a little vintage button. This is also another favorite sort of spread with everything poking through. A tag with some embroidery anglaise, and that's tucked into a nice big piece of that beautiful handmade paper, and a collage with some cross stitch there. And this was fun. I ordered some quilting and fabric from an Etsy store that I will feature in another video, because I will make something out of the bundle that I purchased from Flossie May Cottage. I hope I've gotten that right. And this was actually the some of the packaging, and it's crinkled paper, and I thought, oh, that would actually make a really nice pocket, which is quite typical. It's a typical progression for a junk journaler to open something and start working out how to use the packaging. So that's a big sort of tuck spot, and I decided to put so it's sort of like a double belly band. That's a beautiful piece of daisy trim over the page there. So thank you, Amy, for your packaging. I've kept the rest, so it will appear in other journals. The other side of that gorgeous letter, I just love the handwriting. Some more of that beautiful delicate lace trim. And the other side, actually I think that was from Amy's order as well. That was on the top of the note that she had written, the thank you note, so I pulled it off and stuck it on there. So yeah, I love to do that sort of thing. So that's the other side of that signature, and this is the back of the journal with a beautiful piece of lace as a belly band. And this is also one of my cards from my linen printable, and that's the original one, and it just slotted in perfectly there. You can sort of see the butterfly and the flowers through it. I do love this journal. I spent a little bit of time sort of working out the layers and how things would all sort of fit in, and I was hoping as I flicked back through I'd find an example of that, but I'm just choosing the plainer pages. Naturally, I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, so that is Belle, and I will put all of the information and a link to the shops in the description for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great week. It's Monday morning here. I know it's Sunday in a lot of other places, but yeah, thanks for watching.